Game of the week, it wasn't a shiny one, but it was a tough one. It was the Dogs holding down Kentucky and Bourbon Country, and by golly, it came down to the wire. There was a lot of good games, to be fair. LSU and South Carolina, the Kansas and UNLV game on Friday night was a great game as well. That was very fun. A lot of good games we could have went to. And you're the number one team up against the ropes, right? After what Kentucky, it was nice to see Kentucky bounce back. I'm not familiar with a team having a bad week and bouncing back. I didn't think that was possible, so that was cool for them to see them do that. Brock Vandergriff found a little bit of a rhythm. And look, I got to give credit where credit's due. Our high top Georgia guy, Jack Mack, came on and on our show on, I think it was your Thursday, I believe. He spoke to this. He said, look, Kentucky is 1 for 8 on covering the spread heading into a bye, and they have Bama after the bye. And he goes, we never play well at Kentucky. It's just is what it is. It's going to be a weird 16 to 6 game, or 14 to 10 or 14 to 3. I mean, he damn near nailed it right on the head of where it ended up being. It was, look, Kentucky's going to play us tough, and that's exactly what they did. People are going to panic, say Georgia looked bad, this is it, blah, 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 blah. It's fine. This is right where Kirby wants them. I've said this about Dan Lanning and 2 when Oregon struggled week 1 and 2. It's fine. You found a way to win. That's what Georgia continues to do. You could have almost argued this to be the over-reliable segment just because they handled business. They got it. They didn't handle it, but they got it done, right? When they probably shouldn't have got it done. And you know damn well, you and I both know, they're all 2 weeks ahead looking at Alabama. I don't care what Kirby says that everybody's looking at that. We're all looking at that game. If we wanted to, we would skip next week because that's the game that everyone has circled. It's the rematch. Is it going to be, can Kirby get over the Bama hump? Was it just the Nick Saban, or is it the Bama hump? That's what everyone wants to see, and it's going to be a big one for 2 weeks from now. But I'm not panicking about this. I think Georgia's looked sound for the first 2 weeks. Trevor Etienne had a big run at the end there to kind of put them over the edge. His first year, hate seeing it, but also happy for him. Derek, what are your thoughts on old Kirby and the Dogs?
Yeah, I think I would just be an extreme hypocrite if I came on here right now and I was like, oh, they struggled with an inferior team, squeaked out a win, so we should panic. Obviously, it's super early in the year. And like you mentioned, it's just one of those weird places to play. And I think every university can kind of attest to that. There's one where you kind of see it on the calendar and they have no business making it a close game, but somehow it is. For Oregon for a long time, that used to be going to Pullman, Washington to play Washington State, or, the Pac-12 after dark at Arizona State. No matter how bad those teams were, just for whatever reason, they always had Oregon's number. And I think that's kind of what's happening here with Kentucky too. I think Georgia is looking forward to Alabama, and unfortunately in the SEC, you can't really afford to look ahead regarding that week. And in reality, though, I'll give my flowers to Kentucky. I think they obviously should have won that game. I think that pick six that got called back was obviously highly controversial. And then we might be having an entirely different conversation here this morning. But, Georgia did what they did. I don't knock them for it. To be honest, I don't drop them in my personal rankings whatsoever. I'm not worried about them. I still have a feeling they're going to win the SEC. Obviously the Alabama game in 2 weeks, we'll have a lot to say about that, but I still think they are the best team in the SEC.
For today, which is, of course, brought to you by BetUS. Now, this is the High Top Boys parlay coming up for this weekend. We got dicey here, boys. You can see we put $10 on it to pay out $120. And again, when you use the code YouTube150 at betus.com, you get back 150% on your first 2 deposits, then $125 on your third deposit, up to $2,000. So be sure to use the code YouTube150 at betus.com. There was a lot of votes for Texas at number 1. I saw for this week coming out, and again, Quinn Ewers goes down. Arch Manning comes in and looks sound as can be. It was UTSA, but still had a big run, blazing speed. Mr. Arch Manning was. Tyler, thoughts on the Dogs?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that they struggled to get anything going on offense. That Derek pointed that out. That pick was huge. Like, it was third. I think it was 3-0 Kentucky, and then it's a rolling pick, and it did hit the ground. Don't get me wrong, it was the right call. But if that play just turned, that could be 10-0 Kentucky, and we could be talking about a whole different ball game. But I was very impressed with the way Mark Stoops played. His team played. They responded after a terrible week. I was not impressed with Carson Beck. Once you all know, I am not a huge fan of Carson Beck. I think he's a very overrated quarterback. He just plays in a very, very good system. But that's for another time for another. But at the end of the day, Georgia, sometimes games like this can help you along the season. You build your character, and you guys do realize that we're not invincible. Hey, we can be beat by inferior teams as ourselves. Then you just you don't play down your competition year, and you just continue and continue to get better. So I think sometimes games help you.
Cody?
Yeah, well, after watching Florida for the last 3 years, I'm glad to see a coach with a pulse. He got obviously Kirby Smart got fired up on the sideline, started ripping, anybody from the water girl to the guy that just cleans the whiteboard off. But I gotta love it, and that's what it takes to win and win national championships. I'm gonna say this. Kentucky, hats off to you. I think that the dogs went well, drank a little too much, a little reckless driving probably in the rental cars. I don't know. I'm just going to say this. They did good, but they still squeaked out a win, and that's what national championship teams do.
If I'm anybody else, I'm watching that Kentucky film and seeing what they did on defense to shut down Carson Beck and that offense of the Dogs. Maybe, again, it's just playing at Kentucky. It's one of those things, like you said, just a trap game where you just, in a weird way, it just finds a way to creep up on you. And Kentucky is a hard place to play. It's like Mizzou. It's just a weird
Mizzou.
Yeah, you kind of just get lost in the sauce out there. I don't know what I can't put my finger on it. It's not like a tough. If you go on NCAA, it's not like the pulse is up through the roof. It's just a weird place to play. The ground's hard. It's cold. I hear all the excuses, but again, ultimately they got it done. Great game. It was fun. It's fun because everybody's looking for the number one guy to fall. Right. That's always going to keep the eyeballs locked and loaded there. And again, shout out to Kentucky for handling their business. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Shout out to Derek the Duck, Cody, and Cowboy Ty there with the big hat. I love it. A fantastic Monday mashup for week number 3. If you guys did enjoy it, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. We just surpassed 22,000 subs on Saturday. There was a bright side there, even though Florida got absolutely smothered. We were able to surpass 22,000, and the ship is still rolling. I think we're almost at 22,200 in just a matter of 24 hours. So this lane train's are rolling, boys and girls. So all aboard this thing. We're headed to the Holy Land. Again, if you guys enjoyed it, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. This show is brought to you by BetUS. We hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.